अणोरणीयना महतो महीयना अप्रमेयना अडिसिदलशोदा जगदोधारणा. Dear Swami, loving pranams at your lotus feet. Dear brothers and sisters, Sai Ram. As we embark on this journey together about the beauty of the Indian culture, I was wondering what could be an appropriate reference for this topic, because Indian culture is a topic which can be approached from many lenses and it's truly infinite. It is at that time that it just struck that one of the Vahinis written by Bhagawan, the Sathya Sai Vahini. Now, this is the Vahini. Now, if you read the preface of Sathya Sai Vahini, Professor Kasturi, who had the opportunity to compile the entire Vahini written by Bhagawan, tells us that originally Bhagawan had named the Sathya Sai Vahini as Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini. And in fact, in the initial chapter, Swami speaks about the Bharatiya culture, and of course subsequently Swami widened the topic, so to say, to call it the title to so to say to call it the Sathya Sai Vahini. So I thought that will be an appropriate reference, because who else other than Bhagawan to guide us and to hold us a hand as we embark on this journey to discover the beauty of the Bharatiya culture or the Indian culture. I'm actually referring to the first chapter of the Sathya Sai Vahini, or the Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini as Bhagawan initially referred to it. In fact, the chapter is titled The Supreme Reality. Let me quote one line from there. Bhagawan says, and I quote, "All those who have grown up in the Bharatiya, the Indian culture, the Bharatiya culture, the Bharatiyas know that the Atma is everywhere." I repeat, Swami says, all those who have grown up in the Bharatiya culture, the Bharatiyas know that the Atma is everywhere. So this is what Bhagawan says. Now, in a sense, this seems to be the very definition or qualification of anybody who says, I am part of the Bharatiya culture. Interestingly, Swami does not talk about a geographical connotation to it. So he does not say you're born in India. He says that anybody who is brought up in the Bharatiya culture is somebody who believes that the Atma is everywhere. So as a corollary, anybody who believes that the Atma is everywhere is part of the Bharatiya culture or espouses the Bharatiya culture. Now, if you look at Bhagawan's language in various discourses that Bhagawan has given, Bhagawan refers to as the Atma as God itself, as a synonym of God itself, or the supreme reality itself. So Bhagawan doesn't talk about the Jivatma, Paramatma, etc. Bhagawan says it's one and the same. For instance, Bhagawan always tells us that we are his reflections. He doesn't say we are his sparks. He doesn't say we are a part of him. He actually says that he and we are one and the same. So Bhagawan says that Atma and God or Brahman or the Supreme Reality, by whatever name you call it, is exactly one and the same. So when Bhagawan says that the Atma is everywhere, the Bharatiya culture, the Bharatiyas are people who believe that God is omnipresent, all pervading. Like Bhagavan would say, Sarvatat Panipadam, Sarvatokshi Shiromukham, Sarvata Shrutiman Loke, Tat Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. Sarvatat Panipadam, his hands and feet are everywhere. Sarvatokshi Shiromukham, his head and his ears are, his face and his head are everywhere. Sarvata Shrutiman Loke, his ears are everywhere. Sarvam Avritya Tishtati, he encompasses everything, or in other words, everything is surrounded by him, everything is in the Supreme Reality, which we refer to normally as God. Now, in another interesting discourse, in fact, in a summer course discourse of 1973, the summer course on Indian culture and spirituality in Vrindavan, Bhagwan's ashram in Bangalore, while addressing the students in the year 1973, Bhagwan gives an interesting insight which helps us understand how the Atman or God is everywhere. Because remember, Bhagwan says that the Bharatiya culture, the core of Bharatiya culture, or Bharatiyas are people who believe that God is everywhere. So how do we say that God is everywhere? How do we say that God is all pervading? How do we say that God is vastness? In fact, in Sathya Sai Vahini, Swami says that the God is nothing but vastness and is all pervading. Now, Bhagawan gives an interesting way to look at it. In fact, he picks up the 5 elements. If you look at the 5 elements, you have earth, you have water, you have fire, you have the wind, and then you have the sky, also referred to as ether. And then Bhagawan says, if you look at these 5 elements, they have certain qualities. And the qualities, Bhagawan says, he relates it to our senses, the 5 senses, the Panchendriyas. He says, Shabdha, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. Shabda, the faculty of sound. Sparsha, the faculty of touch. Rupa, the faculty of the eye, the form. Rasa, the faculty of the tongue, the taste. And Gandha, the faculty of the, you are able to smell it. So if you look at earth, Bhagawan says, has got all 5. Shabdha, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Just think about it. I mean, you could hit on it and you could hit on the ground and hear the sound of it. You could recognize its presence by, on hitting on it and through the sense of sound. Sparsha, naturally you can touch it. Rupa, it has got a form. It's got a very tangible form. In fact, it's of all the elements, it's the one which has got the most gross form. Rasa, taste, you can actually put, they say that baby Krishna put, sand into his, soil into his mouth. And Gandha, it's got smell. So when it rains, for example, the first rain in any season, you'll find that there is a particular, smell which emanates. So Shabdha, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So earth has all this, and thus Bhagavan says it is kind of solid, it is kind of does not move, and it's kind of stationary. Yeah. So it's kind of constrained. Then if you look at water, Bhagavan says that it's got one of this less. What does it not have? It has got Shabdha, because when water flows, you can make out the sound. Sparsha, you can touch it. Rupa, it's got a form. It's visible to our eye. Rasa, it's got taste. You can taste water, but it doesn't have Gandha. It doesn't have, a smell. It cannot be sensed, for example, through the nasal route. So that's Bhagavan says that since it's got one of this lesser, it can flow. It flows. It's more mobile and expansive when compared to earth. Then Bhagavan says the next element is fire. Now, if you look at fire, it does not have 2 of this. It's got Shabdha. You can make out, the crackling sound of fire. Sparsha, you touch it, of course, you burn your hands or fingers. Rupa, it's got a form, you can see it through your eye. But it does not have Rasa, it does not have Gandha, it does not have taste. You don't taste fire, right? And again, the smell which fire emanates is the smell of what it burns, and it does not have its own smell. So thus, if you look at fire, fire spreads more, moves more freely when compared to water. For example, if you light an agarbatti or a matchstick, and then even if you hold it down, it kind of goes up, right? So that's the fire. The next element Bhagavan refers to is air. It says it does not have three of these. It's got shabda, okay, air. It can blow into your ear, you can make out its presence. It's got sparsha, the sense of touch, but it does not have rupa. It does not have a form which you can see with the eye. It does not have rasa, taste, gandha, smell. Even so, the air can carry a particular gandha or a smell or a perfume or a fragrance or whatever, but it doesn't have its own smell. Thus, if you see, since it's got only two, shabda and sparsha, it kind of is freer when compared to, it moves more freely and is more expansive when compared to earth, when compared to water, when compared to fire. And then Bhagavan talks about the next element, which is akasha or ether. It does not have sparsha, the sense of touch. Okay, you can't touch it. Rupa, it does not have a specific form. Rasa, you can't taste it. Gandha is not there. Then how do you recognize its presence? It's through shabda. So you have for example, the thunderbolt, and you have the lightning and the thunder, and then through the thunder you recognize its presence, the akasha. So you may say, hey, the sky is blue, I can see it, but then, is it really, what you're seeing, is it blue? Because there are certain parts of space which they say are dark. So you think you're looking at the sky, but you really are not seeing the sky. It's you cannot see space. And thus the only faculty that it's got is the faculty of sound or shabda. And it's all expansive. For example, when you talk about infinity, normally the comparison that you use is you say as infinite as the sky. And after saying all this, Bhagavan says that imagine God is beyond all this, which is shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa and gandha. So if sky, despite having one of these, which is shabda, can be all expansive, now imagine God is really, really, really all pervading and omnipresent. What a beautiful, simple way to help us understand this. And it is through this lens that Bhagavan helps us understand that God is omnipresent. Sarvatat panipadam, sarvatokshi shiromukham, sarvata shruti manloke, tat sarvam avritya tishtati. Now this is a beautiful lens, a beautiful concept. And by Bhagavan's grace, in the next part, where we embark on this journey together about the beauty of the Indian culture, we'll also talk about how Bhagavan says that this has got a practical application in our day-to-day living. This understanding that the Atman is everywhere has significant practical application in our day-to-day lives. In fact, one who has not just understood as an intellectual truth, but whose beliefs are deeply rooted in this, lives life very, very differently. That person experiences the world differently, and the world also experiences that person differently. Let's pray to Bhagavan to guide us through that journey of how this is a practical application in our day-to-day life. Jai Sai Ram.